After 7 years of building a life from scratch with my ex-girlfriend, she cheated on me right before our wedding. I was devastated and ended things. 3 years later, my ex sent me a message. "I'm getting married this weekend. You should come for a celebratory drink." At that moment, I was on my honeymoon with my wife in Malibu. My wife, Chloe, snatched my phone and with a silent, cold smile, typed, "I'm so sorry he can't make it. Ethan passed away from cancer last month, and his body has already been cremated. You are the only girl my brother ever truly loved. Please allow me to send you his best wishes. Congratulations on your wedding." I found a bank card among his belongings. It was for the wedding fund you two were saving. Please take it as a wedding gift from him. In his final moments, my brother said his biggest regret was not getting to marry you. He will always love you and wish you eternal happiness. After her flurry of typing, Chloe tossed the phone back to me. When I read what she'd written, my jaw nearly hit the floor. Chloe shot me a look and scoffed. "What? You feel bad that I lied to her?" I shook my head, exasperated. "No, but don't you realize you basically just wrote a curse on me? Cancer, cremation, dying full of regret for a lost love. Did I really have to go out that tragically?" It dawned on Chloe, and she looked a little sheepish. Should I try to unend it? I pocketed my phone. Forget it. It doesn't matter. If it weren't for that message, I would have almost completely forgotten Sophia Reed even existed. After all, our breakup wasn't exactly amicable. Sophia and I had been together for 7 years, from college through building a successful business, and I truly believed we were headed for the altar. But then, on a perfectly ordinary day, I found proof that she was cheating on me. I confronted her, completely broken, only to be met with her casual 2-word reply, "I'm bored." I later learned that the man she cheated with was her first love from her youth, and I was just a placeholder, a tool to distract her while she pined for someone she couldn't have. My heart turned to ash. I didn't fight or beg. I just ended it cleanly. We hadn't seen each other since. I had no idea what her intention was in sending that message today, whether she wanted to show off or just get under my skin. But it didn't matter anymore. 3 years is more than enough time to wash away any lingering feelings, be they love or hate. I was lost in thought for a moment and sighed without realizing it. Chloe, however, thought I was still upset about the text message. She poked my wrist. "Hey, don't be mad. I'll go apologize to her." "What?" I snapped out of it. "Apologize for what?" Chloe glanced at my phone, and I understood, smiling a little. "Really? It's fine." She didn't look convinced. "Then why do you look so down?" I replied, "It's not about you. I was just thinking about some other unpleasant stuff." Chloe just said, "Oh," right there in front of her. I blocked and deleted Sophia's contact info. I'd forgotten to do it before. She blinked, still looking a little uncomfortable, so I tried to lighten the mood, teasing her. "You grabbed my phone so fast. You weren't worried I'd actually go to the wedding, were you? Were you jealous?" "Whatever. Who's jealous?" Chloe finally snapped back to her usual lively self, jumping to her feet. "Ethan Miller, you're such a narcissist." Then she turned and started walking back toward our beach house. Chloe trudged through the sand, her steps uneven. In the light of the setting sun, the tips of her fair ears were a brilliant shade of red. I grinned to myself. My mood instantly lifted, and I followed her. When I came out of the bathroom after my shower, Chloe was already in bed, her back turned to me. I dried my hair and lay down on the far side of the king-size bed. The distance between us was wide enough to park a car. My marriage to Chloe was something of an arrangement, but it wasn't entirely without an emotional foundation. 3 years ago, after my breakup with Sophia, I fell into a deep depression for a long time. My parents had never approved of my relationship with Sophia. They said she wasn't truly invested in me, but I refused to believe it. I stubbornly spent 7 years by her side, helping her build her company, pouring my entire heart into it, only to lose everything in the end. To distract me, my parents introduced me to the daughter of an old family friend. Our families had business ties, so I couldn't really refuse the meeting. Chloe was a very cool girl. At our first meeting, she made it clear her parents had forced her to be there and that she had no interest in me. I told her I understood completely and then, for some reason, told her the whole story about Sophia and me. Chloe was surprisingly sympathetic. As a result, our time together became unexpectedly easy and fun. After a few more hangouts, I discovered Chloe was full of wild ideas, and just following her lead was incredibly fun. I slowly began to forget the mess with Sophia. So, when our parents proposed that Chloe and I get married, I agreed without much hesitation. The wedding went ahead as planned. To be honest, I was never entirely sure about Chloe's feelings, whether she had married me out of obligation to her parents or because she actually wanted to. It wasn't until today, when she furiously grabbed my phone to message Sophia, that I felt a flicker of certainty that she had married me of her own free will. I heard the rustle of sheets as Chloe turned over to face me. In the dim light, I looked into her eyes. "What is it?" Chloe hesitated for a moment before saying my name. "Ethan, we're married now." "Yeah. So, no matter what, you're not allowed to cheat. If you do, I swear I'll make you regret it." I was taken aback for a second. Before I could respond, she rolled over again, her back facing me. I watched her curl into a ball, realizing she was still bothered by Sophia's message. My heart softened. I moved closer and wrapped my arms around her from behind. "I know," I whispered. "I won't." We'd rarely been this physically close, and her body tensed for a second before relaxing into my embrace. She didn't say anything, but her breathing grew much steadier. That night, we fell asleep holding each other. The next morning before dawn, I was jolted awake by my phone vibrating incessantly. I glanced at Chloe, still fast asleep, and quietly slipped out of the room. "Yeah," I answered, annoyed. Liam, my friend, let out a sigh of relief on the other end. "Ethan, man, I told him you weren't dead." I had no idea what he was talking about. Before I could even ask, Liam launched into an explanation. The gist of it was that Sophia had completely lost it. She not only trashed her own wedding venue mid-setup, but was also running around telling everyone I was dead, demanding to know where my ashes were buried. You should have seen her, man. She was absolutely hysterical. For a second, I almost believed something had really happened to you, so I had to call and check. Liam whistled in disbelief, then asked me what the hell was going on. I explained what had happened the day before and sent him a screenshot of Chloe's masterpiece. After reading it, Liam was floored. "Holy, that's brutal. A total masterstroke. No wonder Sophia lost her mind. If that were me, I'd be regretting things for the rest of my life." I didn't say anything. I honestly didn't understand why Sophia was reacting so dramatically. She dumped me so coldly back then. Why was she putting on this deeply in love act now that she thought I was dead? I could still vividly remember the look in her eyes when she told me she was bored, cold, annoyed, like I was some piece of filth she couldn't wait to scrape off. In truth, looking back after we broke up, I realized Sophia's attitude toward me had always been lukewarm. Belated birthday wishes, forgotten anniversaries. Every time I got sick, she'd only remember to ask how I was doing after I'd already recovered. The list went on and on. But at the time, I didn't think much of it because she treated everyone that way. I just assumed she was naturally a cold person until I saw her with her first love. Her eyes crinkled when she smiled at him, and the affection and tenderness in her gaze were practically overflowing. That's when I finally understood. Sophia wasn't a cold person. She just didn't care about me. In that moment, I was finally able to let her go. "So, Ethan, what's on your mind?" "What do you mean?" Liam sounded urgent about Sophia. "You still have her contact info. You don't still have feelings for her, do you?" I knew what he was getting at. "You're overthinking it. It was an accident that I still had her number. I'm using one of my burner phones right now. My main one gets so flooded with messages, it's useless. The contacts on this phone are a total mess, and I couldn't be bothered to clean them up. I didn't realize Sophia's number was in here, but I'm not surprised. Back in the day, I had like a dozen different accounts just so I wouldn't miss a single message from her." Liam seemed relieved by the explanation. Before he hung up, he hesitated. "If Sophia asks us about you, don't hide it. It's not hard to find out if I'm dead or alive. Besides, there's nothing to hide. I haven't done anything wrong." Our honeymoon ended all too quickly. Chloe and I had traveled all over, and our bond grew stronger with each day. Chloe had a last-minute business trip to France, so we said our goodbyes at the airport. "I'll be back as soon as I'm done," she promised. She gave me a quick kiss on the cheek, then turned and hurried to board her flight. I touched my cheek, grinning like an idiot for a moment before heading to my own gate for the flight back to Chicago. After landing, I walked out through the VIP exit, but my driver, who was supposed to be waiting, was nowhere in sight. In his place stood a line of Blacktown cars. Sophia Reed was standing a short distance away, watching me. I hadn't seen her in 3 years. She looked mostly the same, but carried herself with a more mature, reserved air. Right now, however, her eyes were bloodshot, and she was staring at me with an intensity that looked like she wanted to tear me apart. Yet, there was also a flicker of relieved joy in her gaze. It was a bizarre combination. I looked away after a single glance. I tried calling my driver again as I walked right past her. The driver's phone went straight to voicemail. As I was getting frustrated, Sophia suddenly grabbed my sleeve. "Ethan, you got what you wanted." I stopped and turned to frown at her, having no idea what that was supposed to mean. I didn't say anything, just tried to pull my sleeve free, but she held on even tighter. Her eyes were rimmed with red, seeming to understand my confusion. Her face twisted into a strange expression. "Those messages you sent, they were to get back at me, weren't they? Well, you succeeded. I haven't been able to sleep for days, thinking you were dead. I even destroyed my own wedding. Are you happy now?" My frown deepened as she spoke. I waited until she was finished before I said, "You're reading way too much into this. I wasn't trying to get revenge on you. That message was an accident." Sophia clearly didn't believe me. What kind of accident involves writing all that? It had nothing to do with you. I had no desire to explain myself and turned to leave. But Sophia suddenly signaled, and 2 men grabbed me and forced me into one of the cars. I was furious now, shaking them off. "Sophia, what the hell are you doing?" Sophia smirked at me. "Isn't this what you wanted? You ruined my wedding. Wasn't the whole point to get back together with me?" I was genuinely stunned by her delusional thinking. I never realized how narcissistic she was. After a moment, I took a deep breath and looked at her. "Sophia, you were seriously mistaken. First, you're the one who contacted me. Second, as I've already explained, that message was an accident. And third, I'm married now. I have absolutely no interest in you." As I finished, Sophia's face went blank for a second. She looked at me in disbelief. "You're married?" Before I could answer, she grabbed my shoulders, her fingernails digging painfully into my skin. "That's impossible. You're lying." I pushed her hands away, my expression calm. "Why would I need to lie to you?" "Because you want to ruin my wedding to Caleb." Caleb, that was the name of Sophia's first love. They were childhood neighbors, and Caleb was a year older. Sophia had a crush on him from a very young age. After they graduated from high school, Sophia decided to confess her feelings, but she discovered he already had a girlfriend and had to back off. Still, she followed him to the same college. There she had to watch Caleb and his girlfriend together, miserable but helpless. That's when I came into the picture. For me, it was love at first sight with Sophia. She was beautiful and smart, but her somewhat cold personality made her a bit of a loner on campus. She was always by herself. I once happened to see her feeding the campus stray cats, muttering to them. It was so different from her usual aloofness that I found it kind of adorable. The moment I had that thought, I knew I was a goner. I didn't hesitate. I started pursuing her right away. At first, Sophia wouldn't give me the time of day. It was like she was surrounded by an invisible wall, giving me no opportunity to get close. That changed one day during a violent thunderstorm when she got trapped in the library without an umbrella. Just as I found her, a massive clap of thunder echoed, and she screamed, curling into a terrified ball. It drew the stares of everyone around us. It was the first time I'd ever seen her so flustered and vulnerable. Without thinking, I rushed over, held her, and led her somewhere private so she could calm down. After she composed herself, Sophia told me she had a terrible fear of thunder. For some reason, our relationship became much closer after that. She even started asking me out. I was so ecstatic, I never stopped to question why. It wasn't until after we broke up that I learned the real reason. Her mother, unable to bear her father's infidelity, had taken her own life during a thunderstorm, and Sophia had been the one to find her. Caleb had been the one who rushed in and covered her eyes, and my actions in the library that day had apparently reminded her of Caleb. That was the only reason she'd agreed to date me. I was his goddamn replacement. The car sped down the highway. I was momentarily surprised by Sophia's accusation, but quickly composed myself. I looked at her calmly. I never had any intention of ruining your wedding. If that message caused you distress, then I apologize. My apology, however, only seemed to make her look worse. Ethan, you really don't mind that I was getting married? I don't. She stared into my eyes, searching for any sign that I was faking it or putting on a brave face, but she found none. I was telling the truth. Sophia's expression darkened, and she fell silent for a moment. What if I told you I regret it? I frowned slightly, and she continued. What if I told you that I don't actually want to marry Caleb? That I confuse my feelings for him, mistaking gratitude for love? That I regret breaking up with you now? Would you? She didn't finish the sentence, but I knew what she was asking. My expression remained neutral, showing neither disgust nor pleasure. No, my tone was absolute. The color drained from Sophia's face, and she looked heartbroken. She pressed on, refusing to give up. Are you really married? I nodded. She asked again, and you married her willingly? I nodded again. Sophia lowered her head, clenching her fists. I couldn't see her expression, and I had no desire to. Things between Sophia and me were over long ago. Whatever she was thinking had nothing to do with me. I glanced at my watch and pointed to the upcoming intersection. I'm getting out there. Sophia didn't say a word, but she had the driver pull over at the intersection. I hailed a cab from the side of the road. As I got in, I could still feel her eyes burning into my back. Chloe returned a week later, throwing her arms around me the moment she walked in the door. We kissed, the gesture feeling completely natural. It was that sweet joy of a reunion that feels even better than the honeymoon. After a moment, a hint of shyness crept into Chloe's expression. She cleared her throat. Guess who I just saw? Who? Sophia. I froze and turned to look at Chloe. Her eyes glinted with mischief. Downstairs. I think you owe me an explanation. I smiled and led her by the hand to the couch. I've always admired that about Chloe. She's direct and doesn't hide things, which prevents a lot of misunderstandings and suspicion. I told her everything that happened at the airport. Chloe stroked her chin. Sound to me like Sophia still has feelings for you. I raised an eyebrow, but didn't say anything. Why no reaction? Chloe asked. What kind of reaction am I supposed to have? Chloe couldn't quite say. She laid her head in my lap. Whatever. As long as she leaves us alone, I don't care. I held her and murmured in agreement. Chloe was exhausted from her flight, so after a quick shower, she went straight to bed. I waited until I was sure she was asleep before I went to the living room and looked down from the floor-to-ceiling window. The cars below looked like tiny ants. It was impossible to see anything clearly. I pulled out my phone and dialed a number. It connected quickly, but the other end was silent. My voice was cold. Sophia, I know you're listening. I don't know what you're trying to do, but do not disturb my life. More importantly, do not show up in front of my wife and give her the wrong idea. This is a request, but it's also a warning. There was still silence on the line, but I could hear the sound of her slightly ragged breathing. I didn't say anything else and hung up. I glanced toward the bedroom, my expression softening. My previous indifference toward Sophia was simply because she wasn't worth the emotional energy, her ridiculous claims, her dramatic actions. I saw it all as just a show, but I could not allow her to interfere in my life, especially not with Chloe. When I went to the office the next day, I didn't see Sophia's car downstairs, which put me slightly at ease. Over the past couple of years, my parents had started to enjoy their retirement, gradually handing over the reins of the family business to me. Between the wedding and the honeymoon, I'd been out of the office for nearly a month. Fortunately, the highly capable assistant I'd hired had organized and summarized everything. So what landed on my desk was a streamlined version of all pending matters. Sir, you have a meeting this morning to discuss a potential partnership. My assistant handed me the file. I scanned it and headed to the conference room. I was running a little late, and the other party was already seated. My apologies, I said. My voice faltered for a second. I never expected the potential partner to be Sophia. Her company focused on cutting-edge tech, while my current project was in consumer goods. The two industries had very little overlap. As for why she was inserting herself into this deal, I had a pretty good idea. I took my seat, my face unreadable. After we shook hands, the meeting began. Sophia's expression was perfectly professional. But when it came time to finalize the terms, she proactively offered a significant concession in our favor. I accepted without hesitation. Whatever her motive was, I wasn't going to turn down a profitable deal. After the meeting, I went back to my office. A few minutes later, my assistant knocked. "Sir, Ms. Reed would like to see you." I agreed. When Sophia walked in, I was messaging with Chloe. She was telling me she planned to cook dinner tonight and that I'd better be home on time. I sent back a sticker of a kitten running home. "Ethan," Sophia said. I put my phone away and gestured for her to take a seat on the couch. Sophia looked at me, her expression complicated. I broke the silence. "Thank you for the favorable terms earlier. Don't mention it. I owed you that from years ago when we broke up. I sold her my shares in the company we built for a ridiculously low price just to get away from her quickly. It made her the majority shareholder overnight. Considering the company's valuation back then, her concession today didn't even cover 1/10 of what I'd lost. That was one reason I had no problem accepting her offer." When I didn't respond, Sophia spoke again. "I know I wronged you. Do you still hate me?" I paused for a moment. To be honest, back then, I hated her with every fiber of my being. But now, thinking about it, I feel nothing. It was just an unpleasant chapter in my life, and there's no reason to keep dwelling on it and making myself miserable. Hate is too strong a word. I just don't want to see you again. The moment I said it, the color drained from Sophia's face. Her lips trembled. "I just want to make it up to you." I had never heard such a pleading tone from her before. When we were together, I was always the one giving. To put it bluntly, I was a total sucker for her. If she wanted a popular pastry from a bakery near campus, I'd get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to stand in line just so she could have it before her first class. But she'd take 2 bites, declare she was sick of it, and I'd finish the rest. Later, when we were starting the company, my parents kicked me out for being with her. They cut off all my cards and forbade my friends from helping me. Sophia and I live in a basement apartment, surviving on instant noodles and 1 egg each per day. I never experienced that kind of hardship, but at the time, I didn't complain. I was happy. After we broke up, I drunkenly told Liam about it, and he mocked me for being so ridiculously love-struck. But I've never regretted how deeply I loved her back then. In my mind, when you love someone, you should give them everything without holding back. It's just a shame I gave it all to the wrong person. I looked at Sophia. I had no idea what had happened to make her suddenly give up on her first love and come crawling back to me, but I didn't care. My tone was flat. "Then, please don't show up in front of me again. If you do that, we can consider everything between us settled." I saw Sophia again 2 weeks later at a birthday gala. These events usually required a +1, and since Chloe was free, she came with me. We had just arrived and were exchanging pleasantries when I caught a glimpse of Sophia. She was with a date, but it wasn't Caleb. The guy was young. He looked a bit like some beastly actor. I was a bit confused. Had she and Caleb really broken up? Chloe noticed, too, and gave me a subtle nudge in the ribs. "That's not Caleb with her, is it?" I looked at her, curious. "You know who Caleb is?" Chloe cleared her throat, looking a little embarrassed. I might have done a little digging when I was a hem before the wedding. She widened her eyes, tried to look assertive. "Even though you told me all about you and Sophia, you were so in love with her. Since we were getting married, I had to do my due diligence to make sure there wouldn't be any misunderstandings." Her voice got quieter as she spoke, trailing off into a mumble, clearly a bit ashamed of having investigated me behind my back. I didn't mind at all. In fact, it made me happy. It proved that Chloe had feelings for me even before we got married. It turned out the feelings were mutual all along. I took her hand and kissed the back of it. "It's okay. Actually, I'm really happy to hear that." My gesture startled Chloe. She glanced around nervously, but didn't pull her hand away. "Mr. Miller, you and your wife are so in love." Hearing the voice, I turned. It was the young actor who was with Sophia. He was smiling brightly as he raised a glass to us. "I hear you two are newlyweds. Wishing you both a lifetime of happiness." After he spoke, an awkward silence fell over the group, and people started exchanging strange looks. Sophia stood a short distance away, her expression unreadable and dark. Nearly everyone in our social circle knew that Sophia and I were exes, and the reason for our breakup wasn't exactly a secret either. Plus, with a little digging, everyone knew the story about her recently trashing her own wedding. So, for the past few weeks, Sophia and I had become the primary topic of gossip. There were theories about who was her real first love, Caleb or me. Speculation that she was still in love with me, that I was her one true love. People were calling it a real-life soap opera, with Sophia desperately trying to win me back. Some were even placing bets on whether I'd leave Chloe to rekindle things with her. But it was all just private chatter. No one had dared to say anything to my face. I couldn't tell if this actor was genuinely clueless or just an idiot. As Sophia's date, openly wishing me and Chloe a happy marriage was a massive public slap in her face. Everyone in the vicinity had a different expression, but they were all waiting to see how I would react. I said nothing, and Sophia made no move to intervene. The actor, finally sensing the awkward tension, started to look nervous and lost. Just then, Chloe reached out, took the glass from him, and smiled gently. "Thank you." She took a delicate sip of her wine. "I have a friend who's a director, and he's casting for a new series. I think there's a supporting role that would be perfect for you. You should audition." The actor's face lit up. "Thank you, Mrs. Miller." Chloe then raised her glass to the small crowd that had gathered, smiling graciously. "Today isn't about Ethan and me, and we shouldn't take up any more of the host time. We'll have to host you all properly another day. And next time, you won't be allowed to leave until you've all said something nice," she added playfully. Her move was both polite and charming, instantly breaking the heavy atmosphere. The group laughed and readily agreed, all except for Sophia, whose face had grown dark. The young actor excitedly went over to say something to her, but she shot him a cold glare that left him looking completely bewildered. Chloe watched them, letting out a small, contemptuous snort. If she wants to know how good our relationship is, she should just ask. Using someone as a pawn to test the waters, it's such a cheap move. With that, she pinched my side. "This is all because of your messy past." I flinched from the sting, protesting my innocence. "What does this have to do with me?" Chloe ignored me and turned to chat with an acquaintance. As she walked away, she shot me a look over her shoulder. "Don't talk to me until this party is over. You can use the time to think about what you did." After another round of socializing, I was feeling a bit buzzed and found a quiet balcony to get some air. Suddenly, I heard arguing from the adjacent room. I paused, cigarette halfway to my lips, and recognized one of the voices as Sophia's. A second later, the door to the balcony flew open. Sophia stormed out, her face a mask of fury. A man followed, right behind her. I took one look and recognized him as Caleb. I was surprised by his appearance. I'd seen Caleb back in college. He'd been handsome then, clean-cut, occasionally wearing glasses with a gentle, easygoing demeanor that made him popular with the girls. The Caleb standing before me now was punchy, wearing thick black-framed glasses and an ill-fitting suit, as if he'd gotten dressed in a hurry. His hair was a mess. Standing next to the glamorous Sophia, he looked, to put it bluntly, like a toad next to a swan. They must have been arguing fiercely because there was a clear red handprint on Caleb's face. Caleb cursed at her, and Sophia was about to fire back when she caught sight of me on the balcony. The words died in her throat, and she froze. Caleb took the opportunity to grab her. His face contorted with rage. "Sophia, you stay right where you are. You're the one who came on to me back then. You ruined my relationship with my girlfriend. We had a deal. We were getting married. What the hell do you mean you're backing out now? And that compensation you offered me, that paltry sum, are you trying to pay off a beggar? I'm telling you, this wedding is happening. Whether you like it or not, you just wait and see." With every word he spat, the color drained further from Sophia's face. By the end, she was as white as a sheet. She looked at me, a panicked expression on her face, as if she wanted to explain. I didn't look at her. I just turned to leave the whole mess behind. Whatever her reasons were, they had nothing to do with me anymore. As I was walking past them, Caleb happened to glance at my face and froze. The next second, he let go of Sophia, lunged forward, and grabbed my collar. "Ethan Miller, I finally found you. This is all your goddamn fault. No wonder she has been acting so weird lately, half-assing the wedding planning, distracted all the time. It's because she's been thinking about you. You send one fake message about being dead, and she goes crazy, smashes our wedding, and makes me a laughingstock in front of all my friends, family, and coworkers. Have you two been screwing around behind my back this whole time? She broke up with you because of me back then. You must still hate me for that. Let me tell you something. The only reason she ever got with you was because you did the same thing I did. She's afraid of thunder, and you just happened to be there. She was just looking at you and seeing me. You think she ever actually liked you?" Caleb roared in my face, his features twisted in a furious snarl. He was spraying spittle all over my face, and I was disgusted. But before I could react, a hand shot out and slapped him across the face. Sophia stood there, her hand raised, glaring at him with fury. "Shut your mouth. You think you're even worthy of being compared to Ethan? He went through hardship with me. He helped me build my company. All you do is ask me for money like some kind of parasite. I've had enough of you. My not marrying you has nothing to do with Ethan. It's because you disgust me." Caleb turned his head back, a cold sneer on his face. "So I'm a scumbag. Then what does that make you for crawling into my bed? Desperate? I disgust you now. You used to call me Caleb so sweetly." His words hit their mark, and Sophia's face became a mask of pure agony. I watched them tear each other apart and almost wanted to laugh. How much had she supposedly loved Caleb back then? For his birthday, every year, she'd start planning his gift weeks in advance. Whenever he got sick, she'd fuss over him like a mother hen. When he fought with his girlfriend, Sophia would swallow her own pain to go and comfort the girl, even becoming friends with her. And Caleb, he had a girlfriend, yet he shamelessly accepted another woman's devotion, claiming they were just like brother and sister. That poor girl and I were both apparently too blind and stupid to see the lines they were crossing. But now the look Sophia was giving Caleb was the exact same one she'd given me when she dumped me. Disgust, annoyance, coldness. It turns out that once you actually get your hands on your idealized first love, they can turn into nothing more than an annoying mosquito bite. I was suddenly so grateful that we had broken up. She was, at her core, a selfish and heartless person. Sophia noticed my expression and panicked, reaching for my arm. "Ethan, let me explain. It's not what you think." I jerked away from her touch, and the look of revulsion on my face made her turn pale. "Don't bother. I don't want to hear it. I'm not thinking anything. This is between you two and has nothing to do with me. I told you before, we are done." Caleb started laughing hysterically beside us. "See that, Sophia? You're throwing yourself at him, and he doesn't even want you. You're pathetic. You only want whoever doesn't want you. It was the same with me, and now it's the same with him. What is wrong with you?" He howled with laughter like a lunatic. I had no more interest in watching this train wreck. I straightened my suit jacket and walked away. Sophia grabbed my hand, her eyes red-rimmed. She begged, "Ethan, I know I was wrong. I really do. I've been thinking about you for these past 3 years. I was just too proud to contact you. Please give me another chance. Don't leave me. I'm begging you. I can't live without you." As she spoke, she lunged forward to kiss me. I reacted instantly, shoving her away. "Sophia, are you out of your goddamn mind?" After being harassed time and time again, my patience was completely gone. I wiped my hand where she touched it, disgusted, and spat out the words without thinking. "If you can't live, then go die." Sophia froze, her expression vacant as tears streamed down her beautiful face. It was a picture of tragic beauty, but I didn't want to look at her for a second longer. "Ethan, can you really be so cruel?" I replied coldly. "You brought this on yourself." I didn't see Sophia again for a long time after that. Chloe was diagnosed as pregnant, and both our families were ecstatic. They treated her like she was made of glass. My parents even canceled a long-planned trip and bought a house in our neighborhood, just so they could come over and fuss over Chloe every day. Ugh, my waist is already an inch bigger. Chloe sighed. She lamented, turning this way and that in front of the mirror. With our parents feeding me constantly, I'm going to be a whale before the baby even gets here, aren't I? Seeing her so down, I came up behind her and wrapped my arms around her shoulders. I'll hire a nutritionist tomorrow. That way, our parents won't have to worry, and you'll have a good excuse to turn down all the extra food. How does that sound? Chloe's eyes lit up, and she nodded enthusiastically. I just breathed a sigh of relief when she pointed to her closet. None of my old clothes fit anymore. I need to buy all new ones. I got the hint and, with a resigned smile, handed my credit card to the sales associate. The associate happily went to ring everything up. By the time we left the mall, it was already getting dark. We'd been shopping all day, and my feet felt like they didn't belong to me. Chloe, on the other hand, was still bursting with energy. The contrast made me feel like I was the pregnant one in need of coddling. I was loaded down with shopping bags, with 2 store employees trailing behind me carrying even more. You could just have all this delivered. You don't have to tire yourself out. Chloe settled into the passenger seat and huffed. Where's the fun in that? The whole point is the thrill of the hunt. I showed her the red marks the bags had left on my hands. Right? You get to hunt, and I get to be the pack mule. Chloe arched an eyebrow. Are you complaining? I immediately corrected my tone. Of course not. It's my honor. Finally satisfied, Chloe let me buckle her seatbelt, and I started the car. The sky was overcast, looking like a storm was about to break. It's going to rain soon. Let's get home. I glanced out the window and suddenly froze. I wasn't sure if my eyes were playing tricks on me, but I thought I saw Sophia. Chloe noticed me staring into space. What is it? I pulled my gaze back. Nothing. Despite her earlier energy, the long day of shopping had tired Chloe out. She didn't say anything, but she collapsed onto the bed the moment we got home. I helped her out of her jacket and whispered, "Rest for a bit. I'll wake you up for dinner." Chloe murmured and was asleep almost instantly. I closed the bedroom door and went into the living room. Outside, the sky was dark and heavy. The clouds looked like they might swallow the city whole. I walked to the window and looked down. I couldn't see anything clearly, but I had a sinking feeling that Sophia was down there somewhere. She must have seen Chloe and me at the mall today. A sudden cold dread washed over me. Had Sophia been following me all this time? I wasn't scared for myself, but I was terrified she might do something to hurt Chloe. Even though I didn't think Sophia was the type to get violent, Chloe was pregnant now. She and our child were the most precious things in the world to me, and I couldn't take any chances. After thinking it over, I decided to call her. As I expected, she picked up immediately. I got straight to the point. "Sophia, I saw you at the mall today." There was a long silence on the other end. She didn't deny it. I knew I was right. A surge of fury rose in my chest, but I forced it down. "Sophia, don't do this again. Whatever you're trying to do, it won't change anything. And stay away from Chloe. I care about her more than anything. If anything happens to her, I don't know what I'm capable of. Do you understand me?" There was no response. I was about to hang up when I heard her hoarse voice. "I'm sorry. I don't mean any harm. I just wanted to see you." I lowered my voice, "But I don't want to see you. I have a new life now. I'm happy. The best apology you can give me is to leave me alone." I heard her breath catch and then the sound of choked sobs. She started to say something else, but a sudden flash of lightning lit up the night sky. It was followed by a deafening clap of thunder that seemed to shake the entire apartment building. A frantic scream came through the phone, and Sophia's voice was trembling. Ethan, the thunder is so loud. I'm so scared. I'm really scared. Can you please come find me? Please help me." For a fleeting moment, I saw an image of the library from 10 years ago, of Sophia curled up in a corner and of myself running to her without a second thought. But now my expression was completely blank. It has nothing to do with me. I turned and looked at our bedroom door. My wife is also afraid of thunder. I need to go be with her. Sophia went silent. I hung up and went into the bedroom. Chloe hadn't woken up, but she had instinctively pulled the covers tighter around herself. I walked over, lifted the blanket, and slid in beside her.